Hey guys, welcome to another video. It's your boy, Matrix, and today we're going to be counting down the top 10 best video games and anime of the year. If you're new to the channel, consider leaving a like and subscribe for more thrilling content. Twenty 2020 wasn't exactly a tough act to follow, considering how little content we got overall. I personally had high hopes for this year, and while not all my expectations were met, there were certainly quite a few noteworthy titles from both spheres that graced my eager eyes. So, without wasting much time, let's just jump right in with the top 10 anime that came out this year. Quick disclaimer, this list covers the shows I enjoyed. This is also going to be spoiler free in case anybody wants to give these shows a shot after going through the video. Now, let's get right into it. In no particular order, kicking off our list at number 10, we have Sk8 the Infinity. Two things I absolutely love wholeheartedly are anime and skater culture. So when I saw this show pop up in the winter, I wholeheartedly looked forward to it. The battles are reminiscent of a Tony Hawk's Underground game. The boys are pretty, and the show certainly doesn't lack personality. Sk8 the Infinity is definitely worth a watch. The number 9 show on my list has to go to Cells at Work Black. The original show was a ton of fun to watch and very informing, but there's something about the spin-off that had me watching it even more. I can't quite place my finger on it. All jokes aside, it was quite interesting to see the landscape of an unhealthy body represented in such a thrilling manner. I won't lie, it made me revisit the whole fitness thing myself. I would highly recommend you all give it a watch. This year was stacked with shows that effortlessly got me emotionally invested. One of said shows takes my number 8 spot. Those Snow White notes took an instrument I know nothing about and took it to a whole other level. Not only is the main character an absolute chad as he plays it, captivating me through the entirety of each performance, but I also got invested in the story of his day-to-day life in Tokyo, trying to make something of himself as he navigates the ever-twisting path we call life. You wouldn't regret giving this show a try, trust me. I'm personally not a big fan of anthropomorphized animals. I mean, I avoided Beastars like the plague until it was too late. But there was something about number 7 on this list that got me interested. ODDTAXI looked like a feel-good show from the outside looking in, but the plot couldn't be any more intricate. Every single character has an importance that is revealed later on in the show, and the taxi driver at the center of it all seems to be the only person tying it all together. If you love well thought out plots, then this is the show for you. The trippiest show of this season has to go to number 6 on my list, Sonny Boy. The animation gives me Devilman Crybaby vibes. That was enough to make me give it a shot, and boy am I glad I did. The characters are sent to this pocket dimension and each given a different power. As the plot progresses and we learn more about them, I got more and more invested. It was worth every minute of my time. The number 5 show on this list is here purely for the shock factor. There's definitely no ulterior motives whatsoever. Meiruko-Chan follows the main character who suddenly develops the ability to see ghosts, but tries her best to ignore them. This isn't the type of show one would typically associate with fan service, yet it does it so well. So, if you're into a weird combination of horror and risk, then I definitely recommend this. Just know that the scary bits are genuinely scary. Now, I happen to be a huge music buff myself, which is why I was personally drawn to number 4 on my list, Takt op.Destiny. The show is set in a quiet world where monsters are drawn to the sound of music. Here, we have these badass characters that fight each other using the power of classical music. The plot sounded a bit out there when I first heard it, but it was a good watch, all things considered. At number 3, we have the only new isekai out of the tens of new isekai that came out this year that I bothered to give a watch. Sekai Saikou no Ansatsusha follows the adventures of an assassin who dies and is conscripted by a goddess to kill the hero of another world. I know, that sounds crazy, but yeah. The reason this caught my attention is the main character, and the fact that he wasn't just some shotty neat before he died. No. Quite the contrary, actually. It's not often that you get to watch a character that was cool before and after he died. Some of the sick stuff he pulled off blew my mind, and I'd recommend it to anyone. Now, the top 2 shows on my list are technically not new, but are still worth mentioning. Number 2 goes to World Trigger, a show that honestly should speak for itself at this point. World Trigger is an action-packed show following an organization that is actively combating the invasion from another world. Sort of like a reverse isekai, if you would. The main character is OP as hell, and the world building is top-notch, very detailed. Honestly, just the first few episodes will have you immersed in this new dimension and all of the different plot twists that come with it. Finally, the number 1 show on my list of 2021 has to go to Shaman King. Shaman King was one of the first shows I ever truly binged. I mean, sat down 2 days in a row and just enjoyed the story, the different characters, the different abilities. It's just honestly a breath of fresh air. I would recommend it to anybody. I could barely contain my excitement when I heard that it was getting remastered. If you haven't watched or read Shaman King, then you have no idea what you're missing out. This is your chance to get into a universe that honestly would put a lot of the newer shows to shame. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up the anime that was noteworthy for me this year. I personally think that gaming had a lot more to offer, which is why next we're going to be looking at the gaming category. So many great titles came out, and while I may not have played every single one of them, they still have made a big impact in the gaming sphere. So stick around and let's get right into it. Kicking off our list in the video game category, again in no particular order, we have the GTA Remastered Trilogy. This is honestly a nostalgia pick, if I'm being perfectly honest, because while the remasters weren't particularly impressive, they reminded me of a much simpler time when I would spend hours playing 30 FPS Vice City on our old computer. I may never actually pay for the games, but it's comforting to know that they are readily available and playable in a janky state. Next, at number 9, we have Resident Evil 8 Village. This entry was honestly a no-brainer. I'm not typically a horror gamer, but you don't have to be to appreciate the effort put into the latest installment of the Resident Evil franchise. Lady Dimitrescu carried the entire game on her strong, broad shoulders, and I honestly can't complain. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Sitting comfortably at the number 8 spot, we have Naraka Bladepoint. I'm sure nobody is surprised to hear this, and while I personally am not a big fan of battle royales, I do respect titles that try to put a new spin on an overused concept. Naraka Bladepoint certainly does that with its martial arts based combat as opposed to the usual run and gun. Will I play it? No. Will I enjoy other content creators playing it? You bet. While this next entry is technically not a new game, I'd be performing a grave injustice if I didn't mention it. The new war quest of the long-running action RPG Warframe had a lot of hype surrounding it, and I dare say the expansion exceeded all expectations. From the stunning visuals to the fresh content and the all-around new gaming experience that the entirety of the arc gave me, I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy every second of it. Another RPG that really managed to capture a large audience was Amazon's open world MMO New World. They took the classic formula and gave it new life. New World is a game I can imagine myself sinking hours into, just sitting down by my setup, with my G Fuel by the side, and just grind out those hours trying to get those levels. Honestly, a good feel RPG if there ever was one. It's too bad I don't have the hardware strong enough to run it. Honestly, I heard rumors of people burning their graphics card trying to run this game. I recommend you all give it a try if you can, if you have the capability to. Now, I'm big on extreme sports. Some of my favorite games of all time are extreme sports titles like Tony Hawk's Underground, Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, Matt Hoffman's BMX, all of those stuff. Really fun games. Which is why I needed to give Riders Republic a spot on this list. The gameplay reminds me a lot of THP 8 and Matt Hoffman's all rolled into one. I love the open world elements and the diversity of extreme sports. Everything from downhill biking to snowboarding to roller skating. Ubisoft really needed a win, and this was it. Number 4 has to go to Forza Horizon 5. Open world racing games have been making a name for themselves since Need for Speed Most Wanted, pushing the limits of what it means to be an open world experience. And the dev team did not disappoint with this one. While Forza is an Xbox exclusive, it takes immersive racing to a whole other level. The clips to come out of this game are just insane. Now, I'd be crazy to not include Halo Infinite on this list. This is a game that I've personally already sunk several hours into. It's a great time to be a Halo fan, guys. Hopping into the matches brought back memories of sitting around the TV and playing Slayer with the boys. The new movement mechanics make the game feel fresh, and it's the only game I have fun playing both alone and with friends. The story is also a big improvement on the dumpster fire that was Halo 5. Now, I personally didn't expect much from Guardians of the Galaxy, which is probably why the game ended up blowing my mind. But to be fair, you can't really blame me. The Avengers game that happened earlier in the year really didn't set a good precedent. The story was captivating though, the gameplay had a nice pace to it, and it felt like I was exploring the farthest depths of space while I was playing. If you're looking to chill and genuinely have a good time, then this is the game for you. Hands down my favorite game of the year. And finally, to cap off our list, the latest in the Far Cry franchise, and the best in my opinion, Far Cry 6. This game was nothing but amazing. The visuals were stunning, the gameplay so captivating. They improved on the already working formula, and I am not complaining at all about the end result. What more could anybody honestly ask for? The violence was there, and so was the heart. Truly a great way to wrap up the year. And that's all for what 2021 had to offer us in terms of anime and video games. The year had its moments, all things considered. The memories we made this year will not be forgotten so easily, and the stage has been set for what 2022 has in store. I honestly cannot wait. Happy New Year, guys, and I'll see you again in another video.